America and Earth. This is the first recording of a new podcast out of the state of Iowa. We're calling it Rock Hard Caucus.
Ayo.
Did you get it?
If I played the intro music before this, I just want you to know it's not the Christmas tree song. It is the song of Iowa. That's the official state song, okay? The words are completely different. We're recording this because our state, Iowa, we have the first in the nation caucus in the presidential election, and therefore we have an entirely unwarranted influence over the electoral process in this country. And because of that, you are now required to know what we think and how we want this world to function. And you don't really have a choice in the matter. Like
we decide. You just have to live with it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Our decisions count more than yours, and that's just how it's going to be. So
sorry.
Yeah, so I'm
absolutely no reason, but I think it's very warranted.
Right, and we absolutely set the tempo for your lawmakers by placing kernels of corn in jars at the state fair every year.
That is correct.
So, yeah, exactly. Just keep that in mind.
We are electing the President Corn, and there's nothing you can do about it. We hold all the cards. We wield all the power here. And who are we? Do we want to introduce ourselves?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, sure.
I'll go first. I'm playing host because I have the most radio experience. I'm the most professional of the group here. My name is Justin Comer.
Hi, Justin.
Hey. Evan, you introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Evan Jones. I'm a very critical person who doesn't have a whole lot of formal education, but has a lot of very unfounded opinions that I will spew at you, machine gun style, for the remainder of this recorded audio event.
That's right. Natalie, you want to go next?
Yes, I am Natalie Harwood. I am the token girl and employee of Abortuaries.
Yes, thank you for providing our podcast with some extra weight by not being another white man.
Yeah, it's really, really important.
Instead of a fourth white man, we have a white woman instead. So that,
right.
That makes our podcast
Which is
more
notably
important.
an excellent demographic with good opinions.
Yeah, let the record show.
White women are good.
Exactly.
Yep. And who is that last guy that just said exactly?
My name is Chuck. Chuck Yanda. I'm from a very proud lineage of Yandas. We're mostly in Iowa, but I'm basically here to occasionally laugh at something and wait for anything that is said to trigger a pop culture reference in my brain, or maybe remind me of a post I saw on the internet. So,
yes, Chuck will be playing one of the joke boys for this show.
Joke boys, token girl, and host.
That's right.
I'll add that we are located in separate cities in Iowa. We have a pretty decent coverage of the state. Chuck is up in the 1st district, I'm in the 2nd, and Evan and Natalie are both in the 3rd district.
Yes.
So we've got your bases covered.
Yeah,
we are the central Iowa correspondents, Natalie and I, and Eastern Iowa correspondents are Justin and Chuck.
Right, and
we have no Steve King country representative.
Yes, we do not represent Steve King. Or Steve King does not represent us, rather.
Correct. I was. I think I called that the Fallen Kingdom when we were discussing it. We do not have anyone located in that area of the state because everyone over there, they don't have.
They're actually not people.
They don't have computers, is what I was going to say. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I went a little further than that, but Western Iowa essentially doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No, it's mostly pigs and bean fields.
If you've seen like the scenes in the Lord of the Rings movie where the orcs are being born, it's kind of like that.
That's how Steve King came out of the muck, like all.
Oh yeah, and that's
out, and then the big white hands.
That's actually not punching down because I was born in Sioux City, so I am one of the orcs that has reformed.
Yeah, you have some salacious history as a resident of a certain neighboring state that we won't discuss.
Yeah, I've never lived outside of Iowa, actually.
Yes, that's correct. We won't discuss that at all. The fact that you've never lived outside of the state.
That's right. So we have together. We've drafted a list of demands, and this is for the people who live outside of this area to consume and really internalize. And everyone must meet these demands. This requires collective conformity to our demands, so that the world will be reformed in our image.
Mm-hmm.
It's
We're
completely non-negotiable.
influencers. I want to redo my introduction and call myself an influencer.
Okay. So our list of demands, we have 10 of them for you today. And I want to make it very clear that this is not an exhaustive list. It is not ranked by importance. We may revise or amend this list at any point in the future, but only we may revise or amend it. You will have no part of this discussion. This is entirely coming from us. We have the final say here. Every demand comes from us and must be obeyed by you, the listener.
Final and only say. Feedback not accepted.
That's right.
Criticism, constructive or otherwise, not accepted.
That is exactly correct. Do you guys want to just jump right in? I can start reading them off, and
let's do it. Let's do it. We'll start right at the top.
Yep. Okay. So number 1 on our list of demands: healthcare as a universal right. Free at the point of service, includes dental and vision, abortion access, mental health treatment, and gender-affirming surgery. Did I miss anything there?
Nope, I don't think so. One thing that I've always liked about the idea of a country like ours, sort of not having, a universal system of healthcare for its residents, is the idea that you have to earn this. You have to be. Your worth as a citizen is weighed directly by the amount of capital that you produce and your productivity or whatever. Whereas there's many places around the world that this is common practice. This isn't this anyone that's listening to this is probably very well aware that the system that we have, it exists exclusively here. It's objectively inhumane. It's objectively extremely bad. You look just as an example. We take people that maybe diabetic. We look at the price of insulin just continuously increasing over time. There's lots of very lovely stories about people dying because they can't afford this very basic necessity to treat their condition.
Where the patent was given away for free.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Oh, and in America, we believe the bones that are in your mouth are different than the bones that are everywhere else.
Yeah, that's why
you shouldn't be allowed to take care of the ones in your mouth.
Yeah, that's why
those are good ones.
That's why I
They're
included dental and vision there, because I almost forgot that that's not just bundled in.
It's astounding.
It's easy to forget. I would also say that this applies to anyone who resides here, even if they are not a citizen.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
They're here. I think it's kind of important for, the people around you to be healthy, because it's generally a good thing. It's a good thing, I think, for people to have access to healthcare. I mean, stop me if I sound like I'm too much of a radical here, but
we're all radicals around here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mention that Chuck mentioned, not having to actually do anything to deserve stuff like this. I think that's kind of a common theme throughout our demands here, is that your productivity does not, determine whether
doesn't
you
define your worth as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You guys, anything else that you wanted to touch on with that? Or, it's pretty straightforward, of course, yeah?
Did we say it includes, all sort of, reproductive, basically, any sort of,
Yeah, I said abortion access specifically, but...
Right.
Yeah, I mean all of that stuff. And Natalie knows more about that, obviously, than I do.
We believe in elective abortion on demand as birth control. No restrictions whatsoever. Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say access to medical devices and any sort of technology that is developed, prosthetics and such.
Yep. I think the general consensus here is that, basically throughout all of these, just looking over them, is that we generally believe that when, the lower class is doing well and is well taken care of, like when an entire country is, doing well and, being taken care of, that generally everything is better for everybody.
I'll drink to that.
Yes, me too.
Yes, good.
And we will, of course, dig deeper into probably all of these topics in the future. This is sort of, just giving you an idea of where we are. So, demand number 2, drug legalization. Yes, all of them. Voluntary and accessible addiction treatment as part of demand number 1.
Yes. 100%. Basically, instead of incarcerating people if they have a drug problem, you treat them through community measures. You provide harm reduction strategies for them, or services that they can
Needle
use.
exchanges, safe injection sites, Narcan for every American citizen.
Yeah, some people are just going to be on drugs, and that's okay.
Right. And the thing is, drugs itself is not a crime. There are people who are addicted to drugs who do crimes because they're addicted to drugs, but it doesn't need to, there's no reason that it should be something that should be criminalized in addition to any other crime that's committed. Like right now, it's kind of a double whammy.
Spend an entire episode talking about as far as the for-profit prison system that we have in this country. What is it? I think we got nearly like 2.2 million adults that are being held within prisons right now, and that's was clocked at the end of 2016. So that's roughly, for every 100,000 people that are residing in the United States, there's about 655 of them that are behind bars. And we've seen this number increase at a historic rate since 1985, and that, of course, coincides with the beginning of the war on drugs. But like I said, we could probably spend hours talking about that, so I don't want to get too hung up on that right now.
And we probably will spend hours talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, also, drugs are kind of fun and can be enjoyed in
too.
moderation.
Yes, we like drugs too.
Yeah, they're praxis. So.
It
Yes,
doesn't
it's
necessarily
praxis.
have to be a society-destroying thing. I think most people know at least one drug user. In fact, I think most people know
I don't.
many more than one drug user, and that includes alcohol, because that is a drug, and in fact, one of the worst drugs.
Yeah, it's much more
Worse-
intoxicating and problematic than weed.
Justin doesn't get to have an opinion on this, but
And we can also talk about like the disproportionate sentencing between punishment that's handed out for charges for cocaine possession or
Yes.
crack cocaine possession as well,
right.
which disproportionately targets
Yeah, but I
various
mean, we're
communities.
legalizing it all, so I mean, that's
right. Yeah.
no problems there.
I
Yep.
mean, there's like a discussion to be had diagnosing like what the current problems are, and like when you break down those massive numbers by like demographic, you come down to between 1 in 4 to 1 in 3 black men being in prison, which is just fucking astounding. And especially when you combine it with this like narrative that like African Americans come from these like broken homes, or like single moms are such a big problem, when like we fucking did that in the first place. Like that's our fault. Like when you really start to get into the disparities, I think that's interesting and important, as much as like just how the enormous volume of people
Yeah.
that are in this
It is a
system.
healthcare issue. It is not a criminal issue.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I want to add that any single one of these demands taken on its own will not solve all the problems. All of the demands must be met together.
Correct. Because it all feeds into each other. We
They're
live
all-
in a society, y'all.
That's right.
We do be living in a society.
It's an unavoidable interconnected web, or whatever that quote is.
Also, I'm sorry for saying y'all.
How dare you?
Yeah,
This
I'd
is
like
the
to apologize for
Midwest.
that too in advance.
All right, demand number 3. This is a spicy one. I plan on getting in lots of fights over it.
Oh, also smoke weed every day.
Yeah, go for it if that's what you want.
If you want to. Or not. You don't have to, but I mean, that's something you could do.
For sure.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. Demand number 3. Open borders. Borders are fake. If capital recognizes no borders, neither do we.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just lines that some asshole decided should be there at some point in like forever ago. Like,
It is important to remember that every border was drawn by an asshole. Yeah.
All of them done by assholes.
I mean, honestly, like, what's the point? Like, we're all humans, you know. It's like, why are we afraid of other people just because we're like threatened economically? Well, we have solutions for that too. Stay tuned.
That's right. Okay, on to number 4, or do we have any more border crap to discuss?
No, we can get into that some other time.
Yeah, we
That's
will.
an enormous conversation.
Yeah, I feel like that one's
going
gonna
to
make some people pretty mad. But,
Yeah, and
you
it's
know.
actually
Which is good, but
pretty
I feel like
important.
It is
there's- we
It's
should
pretty
devote a lot
important
of
in
time to
Iowa.
that.
Yeah.
This is important.
It is. The largest immigration rate in history happened here.
Yeah, if anyone
in
wants
American
to
history.
That is true.
Yeah, Postville.
Google, say, farm labor in Iowa and, report your findings.
We can't be bothered to do that.
I mean,
as content creators.
we'll Google it later. All right, demand number 4, prison and police abolition. Probably another pretty spicy one. Prison exists to provide forced labor. Police are enforcers for the ruling class. Only trust your fists. Police will never help you.
I don't trust my fists, but I agree. I think, again, it's sort of a community. There's a community solution for this that doesn't involve punishing people.
To me, it's extremely good that we have this sort of like hyper-militarized police force that exists in, every town in America, where they have this just disproportionate amount of fucking power against everyone else that lives there, and they're basically equipped with the right to kill you at any given time. They can lock you up for whatever the fuck they feel like at any given time, and the way that you're punished and treated can basically just boil down to whatever fucking mood they're in.
If the mood is seeing a black person, it gets a lot worse.
Yeah. That's not a good mood to be in if you're a cop.
If you punish people, they generally like behave worse after on. Like it's not really a productive way to run things.
Can verify due to parenting.
Right. Also, I would say that includes abolishing any sort. I mean, I guess it's obvious, but abolishing the death penalty of any sort. Because
Absolutely.
Yes.
as a libertarian, I don't believe that the government should have the right to. I don't believe the government should. No, listen here. I don't believe the government should have the right to take a life from any human being.
No,
I mean,
you're completely
yes,
right.
But I also think the libertarians.
I mean, I think some of them. Sorry, are you disrespecting my political beliefs?
Yes.
Sounds like it.
Okay, that's fine.
Natalie touched on this briefly. I do want to add that she is a mother, in addition to being the only woman on this podcast. So that, elevates our discussions.
As
Yes,
someone
now
who is
what?
investing in the future,
That's right.
yes, I am raising the next generation.
Braver
I'll
than
have
a
you know
troop.
that I bought
Yes.
hundreds of dollars worth of keys for Rocket League, so I too have invested in the future.
Evan said, braver than the troops. And speaking of troops, demand number 5, death to imperialism. Withdraw all troops abroad. Abolish the Air Force. Complete nuclear disarmament. I'm not going to pretend I know everything about this topic, but I think everything I typed there is good.
I think that's admirable. That's an admirable goal to, stop doing things that don't really serve any productive purpose other than cementing our place in the world at the expense
Wow.
of anyone. No, hold on. At the expense of literally everyone else who lives on this planet.
Yes.
Wow, I see that you have given zero thought to how the corporations feel.
The job creators.
I've got words on those in the next demand if we're ready to go on.
Well,
Okay, yeah, let's
yeah,
let's
no,
do it.
no war, no war.
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
add the existence of a standing army. I don't know. I feel like bigger than just abolishing the Air Force. There's a large conversation to be had about that and what the utility is, and having a conversation about the poverty draft. All this. I mean, that's a whole episode's worth of material. But I want to throw that in as other
Yes.
stuff that kind of piggybacks off of it. That's important.
We want to cooperate with other nations. We do not want to destroy them
Yeah, we can completely ignore the
for
fact
our
that
own material gain.
Right, that the budget for the Air Force is around $165 billion per year, which if you take that and put it towards, as we touched on earlier, universal health care. It's very close to fucking paying for it completely based off what we already spend.
Yeah, just that
for
one
Medicare
branch.
and Medicaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with abolishing the whole thing.
I think for sure we can get rid of the Navy. I mean, what is the point of that?
Yeah, boats, isn't that like
It's
old
like, what is
technology?
this? Like, yeah, what is this, like the fucking 18th century?
Well, Evan, there's a lot of water on Earth, you know? Have you thought of that?
That is true.
I knew someone who was in the Navy and they don't do anything.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
They don't do anything.
No.
And you get to be worshipped and have your balls gargled for the rest of your life, and you don't do anything. You just sit on a boat and then come home. I swear
Sounds
to
pretty
God.
good to me.
Did it for 9 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
keep the Navy. Only for podcasters.
okay, you're right. Keep the Navy.
Okay, yeah, we'll get rid of all the other ones then.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
Just Navy.
Perfect.
All right, so speaking
anyways.
of the job creators that you mentioned a minute ago, demand number 6 is work abolition. Society must be reoriented to prioritize the distribution of resources to meet the basic needs of the population. Employers and employees, both in quotes, will be irrelevant.
Yeah, I think it's more about abolishing the need to constantly be productive. You can work
Yes.
if you want to. That's perfectly fine. But if you don't want to, you can just like read books or like watch anime or
Or look at posts.
look at posts. You know, just hang out with your bros. You could also enjoy some of the legal drugs that we've, made available to you.
But Evan, what about the economy?
Well, we definitely have enough resources to go around because we have an industrial sort of society.
Yeah, this demand is actually the most fundamental one for me because the thing that bothers me the most about just being alive is that I have to be productive for somebody's, increase of wealth in order to just eat and live in a house.
Yes, like your human value is not determined by whether you can produce something for someone else or not.
Not in my book, yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, just do you. That's basically what it comes down to. We still need to produce things, and things that are actually important to produce are things that we can collectively agree upon that they're important. It isn't necessarily about, right now we have a system where it's just about filling someone's pocket. It's not about doing what's the most productive thing for everyone,
Yeah, we collectively agree and we collectively benefit from the production.
Yep.
Democratic control of industry and production.
Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff, honestly.
It's pretty basic stuff. We're not going to mention, any sort of philosophical underpinnings or arguments or any sort of books that might, possibly reinforce such an idea.
No, not at all.
I've never read a book about this, and it just happened in my brain is all.
Yeah, we just,
Right.
it makes sense. It makes sense intuitively, honestly, that
I've never read a book,
collectivist
period,
society, a society where everything is controlled by collective forces is a lot less scary than one where there's a handful of completely unaccountable people who control everything. It's a lot
And
less
also
scary if you really
sex crimes.
if you really sit down and think about it and you look into your own soul, then you will realize that it's probably best for us to organize.
Yes, look within.
Look within.
Marianne mindset.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, number 7. This is the climate change one. Wind power only. All fossil fuel extraction must be ceased immediately. All oil and gas currently above ground must be ingested by billionaires, particularly oil executives.
Yeah, I'm imagining some sort of fucked up, complicated Second Life machine that's strapping billionaires to these.
I don't like that
these
part.
nodes
Because as
pumping oil into them.
as a libertarian, I believe in the
God.
non-aggression principle. So, I think that the billionaires should just have their resources reallocated. And yeah, definitely no fossil fuels.
Yeah,
but also
I
that
chose-
goes to the environment as a whole. That includes access to water. That's a very important one because that's going to be a huge, that's part of climate change too, but it's going to be a huge thing in the future.
Yeah, good point. I chose wind specifically because we're Iowa, so, wind is
Right.
the
Yeah,
we
important
don't,
one.
Yeah, we don't have the water so much.
We got turbines for days out here.
We do indeed. But yes, the environment
Yep.
should be protected because, it's kind of we all live on this planet and there's really no escape unless you perhaps have billions of dollars and...
Well, this is what we have Elon Musk for. He's going to take us all to Mars.
Yeah, I don't think he's planning on taking
No,
us all
He's
to Mars.
taking himself to Mars and maybe Grimes.
Yeah.
Maybe Grimes.
He and Grimes are going to repopulate the entire fucking planet by themselves. They're going to create a master society.
Yeah, they can take some of Jeff Epstein's DNA that he was saving to repopulate the world in his image.
That's
All right, I think we're getting off track here.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We're probably going to do a whole Epstein episode at some point, so look
Right.
forward to that.
Hopefully sooner than later, before that pie cools in the windowsill too much.
Hopefully I'm dead by that point.
All right, next one. This is demand number 8. It's something I think we touched on briefly before, but every person has a right to safe, decent, affordable housing, including the inalienable right to unionize as tenants, large-scale rent control, stripping of profit motives, and all public housing built and maintained by union workers with contracts requiring local workers and materials, and an eventual transition to nationalized public housing. Natalie wrote that
Jesus,
one.
can you
That's
tell I
very
wrote
complicated. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a little
Sorry.
complicated. I think that we should just say that like
Housing is a
shelter
human right.
shelter is
house.
good. It's good to have a roof over your head.
Good.
Imagine
Yeah.
thinking any of that is bad.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, if I'm involved in it, it will be very long.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I'm trying to remember the exact number right now, but from what I can recall, there are around 5 vacant properties for every homeless person in the United States. Most
Yeah,
of
something
which
like that.
are most of which are left empty from just a fucking foreclosure crisis. Like, there's really no reason that we can't be putting this to good use. Like, anyone that
100%.
anyone that ever makes the argument like, no fucking immigrants, like, fuck off, we're full. Like, we're fucking not full.
No.
Like,
Yeah,
To
not
think
at
that
all.
America is full is the dumbest imaginable shit. We have vast natural resources that other countries
Right.
are fucking envious of. That's literally like a main reason why America is so powerful that it is today, is that we literally lucked into this amazing continent that's like super isolated from the rest of the world and like
Right,
has
which is still
super
relatively
abundant
young to
and
us.
like super like overpopulation is not a problem in the United States. Sorry.
Agree.
no, not at all.
Not at all.
Or Earth.
Well,
We have, like,
in certain areas of
vast
an Earth, but
expanses
yes,
of-
in general, no, it's
Yeah,
not a problem.
I don't know. The
It's a
Malthusian
problem that will
bullshit.
solve itself as we actually progress as a fucking species.
Yeah, if we allocate resources correctly, it is not a problem.
The population argument has always been really stuck in my fucking craw because it's a eugenics argument, and
Yes.
Yes.
it ultimately blames like environmental issues on brown people having lots of kids, which is fucking stupid. We have enough space and we have enough food and we have enough resources. We just don't want to use them, and we would prefer to go and like sterilize people.
Yep.
Versus like trying to more properly distribute land and resources so that everyone has enough.
Yeah, we're not going to give them access to like contraceptives and reproductive rights and stuff, but we're also going to be mad at them for like doing what humans do, with
Yeah, I don't
some
know what all these-
exceptions.
I don't
Which
know
is
what all
having
these white
sex.
nationalists are getting so mad about. Like, what is so bad about being a minority in the United States? Like, come on.
There are actually more women on Earth than men, so, and probably in America too. I'm not entirely sure about that, but technically, I am part of a minority, and it is great.
I'm a minority as a white male Bernie Sanders supporter, so
Yeah.
Right, yeah. We're actually the most persecuted race on the planet.
This is all irony. Please don't.
Yeah, please, yeah, let's, for full disclosure, we're doing irony. You're going to
Do
hear a
not
lot
write.
of irony on this show.
Again, do not write. There's no input allowed.
No,
Don't
please don't
email
be mean to us. Jill Currenitis, please don't be mean to us.
I mean, we're going to be mean to him.
Yeah, I
Stay
want to share
tuned,
at
world.
some point.
We'll discuss the Joel in the future.
Okay.
Demand number 9, this is one of the most important. Everybody has to be gay now.
That's right.
Yes, enough said, everyone.
Self-explanatory. Next one.
That's right. And the final demand for now, this is number 10. We may write more in the future. We may amend the ones that exist already. Number 10. Everybody must follow us on Twitter. The show account is at Rock Hard Caucus. Do we want to plug our personal ones here? Or Is that
Absolutely
tacky?
not.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll plug mine on here. You can follow me on Twitter at crdipshit. There's not much there. I mostly tweet about getting mad at the junior league hockey team that's here in town. I occasionally reply to people, but there's not much there right now. But
There's a lot of hockey content.
there's a lot of hockey content on there.
The boy loves hockey.
I do love hockey.
I am at George Horwell, but the last L is a 1.
George Horwell. That's Natalie on there. I just use my name, Justin K. Comer. I post pictures of saxophones and shit like that all the time.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
I yell into the void multiple times a day.
I have a secret Twitter account that basically is an inversion of what people normally do on social media, which is like promote themselves. It's more of a way to tear myself down. Just because I kind of just hate the idea of social media in general to a certain extent, because I'm a misanthrope. But no, I probably will create some sort of like different Twitter, like official, normal guy, normal opinions Twitter account at some point in the future.
Yeah,
So stay tuned for that.
So stay tuned, I guess. I probably won't tweet very much.
We're not going to dox you, so don't worry. I will say that Evan is not a misanthrope. He's actually a very loving human being.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm not. I'm just hard on myself.
So something I kind of wanted to do in the first episode was maybe do some caucus predictions. The Iowa caucus is February 3rd. It's like 6 months away. I think we all maybe have different ideas about what's going to happen.
I think the tea is about to fucking get spilled.
I think so too.
Well, I think if you couldn't have figured it out by now, I think we all have a specific candidate that we believe is going to be the best candidate.
That's
Andrew
right.
Yang.
Yeah, Michael Bennett.
I mean, I was talking about Marianne Williamson, but
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
no, there's another guy who has like white hair, but he's not named Joe Biden. And
You may have heard of him. Oh, yeah, I mentioned him earlier.
Oh, I forget his name, but yeah. I think we're all pretty much on board with that train, but there's a lot of other candidates. There's like way too many of them, I think.
So many.
Yeah, and they've all been hanging around, like, yelling at us in the state.
Yeah,
They
I
all
mean,
text you all the time. Especially John Hickenlooper was on me. I know he dropped out now, but his staff was messaging me a lot. And they're like fucking mercenaries. Like, you're not volunteering. for
yeah,
John
that's another thing
Right.
that maybe people who don't live in Iowa don't understand about the political process here is that you will be subjected to just psychological warfare here, basically, on all fronts.
Nonstop.
Just nonstop. Like, you can't
Television,
escape. You
radio,
can't escape this
mail.
shit. They will come to your house.
They come to your house.
They
I've
will.
had someone
People
come.
will come to your house.
I have come to people's house to do this.
Yes, he has.
I want to say that John Delaney was campaigning in Iowa in like early 2017. So it's not even just an every 4 years thing. It's just a constant cycle.
Yeah, there's really no escaping it at all. It's
There's
kind
not.
of it's democracy in action. Obviously, this is the perfect way to do things so that that everyone gets an equal say in things.
So let's start with like sort of like one of the more primitive, immediately accessible forms of advocating for a candidate. So I know around here, the only yard signs that I've seen so far around here, there's one over on the northwest side of town, not too far from where I live, and there's one over on the southwest side of town that is a giant Tulsi Gabbard sign in these people's
We have
yards.
tons
Yes.
of them too.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not just here. So like
She
they
has
have
like
like a
sign
huge.
spinners.
Yeah, exactly. Just like a huge sign in these people's yards, like Tulsi
I
2020.
feel
with her
like-
smiling face on the banner.
I feel like Tulsi Gabbard is kind of like the Ron Paul of the Democratic primary. This
Yeah, I think that's
this year.
apt, yeah.
That's. I mean, it's not quite 1-to-1, but
No, but
she's
it's-
got
yeah,
some
it's similar.
definite crossover.
She has so much signage, billboards, and I seriously saw probably 10 people out with giant Tulsi signs, like spinning them.
Yeah, like
And
the people who are into her are really into her. I mean,
really
we're
into
really
her.
into that one other guy, but like
It's like this whole
It's
thing.
weird when
And I
other
get
people
it
have other
because
opinions.
I am very attracted to her.
That's true.
but-
It is weird
sure.
that other people have like other strong thoughts. It's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. We've already discussed that they can, take it or leave it.
Yeah, I mean we're drafting the list of correct opinions here, so just chill out, everybody else. There are like 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 giant Tulsi billboards on Interstate 80. I don't know if you guys have seen them.
I have not.
Yeah, I've driven back and forth between Des Moines a few times, and it's, they're huge and they're lit up at night, so everyone knows who Tulsi is now, or they don't. And my parents ask me every time they see it who that is.
Who's that again?
Tesla, what's her name?
Tesla.
Yeah.
She's the most Googled candidate
Tesla
after
Scabbard.
every debate.
Really?
But I'm
Tesla
sure-
Scabbard is such a sick name. If that was really her name. Anyway, go on.
She's the most Googled candidate, which but they don't measure what people were Googling her for, and it's for sure her feet, but
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
or I don't know, same with Marianne Williamson. She was Googled a lot, and I know it just has to be what is her facial regimen? Does she bathe in virgin's blood? But they're the most Googled candidates. So congratulations, Marianne Williamson's feet. I'm gonna try and Google.
Oh, ugh.
This is not what you want from me right now.
So in terms of yard signs, there's a there's a Castro one in my neighborhood, but that's really all I've
No
seen
shit.
around here. Yeah, just one, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a half size yard sign, it's vertically chopped in half or horizontally. I mean, so he really skimped out on the yard signs.
That's interesting.
That's gonna hurt him.
That's right, it is.
I honestly have not seen too many signs. However, I was in Cedar Rapids a weekend or two ago, and there was a couple Bill de Blasio signs
Good
right
God.
outside of New Bohemia in Cedar Rapids, which was really kind of fascinating because I was I don't know. I mean, I guess he's been spending a lot of time here and making a lot of people over in that other city really mad. I mean, they're always mad at their mayor no matter what, but
Yeah,
but he kind of sucks anyway. But
I saw
Yeah,
Bill
fuck
de
him.
Blasio attack ad when we were leaving from our church this morning. That was New Yorkers to Bill de Blasio. Where the fuck are you?
whoa, people are running anti-de Blasio ads?
Wow.
Yes.
Dude, this
can
is
hear
what I was
that.
saying
Spending
about
money on that.
the intensity of
what a waste of money.
propaganda being spewed in our faces.
It was 10% of New Yorkers are homeless. Where are you? It's what? It's
a good
amazing.
point.
It was on Fleur Drive in Des Moines.
Natalie brought up another thing about herself that I forgot to mention earlier that adds weight to our opinions. She goes to church.
I go to church and I'm teaching Sunday school, and my husband is becoming a mentor for the young men in our church.
Yeah,
Good.
so we have a woman who is a mother, and she works at an abortion farm, and she goes to church. So you have to listen to this,
do.
and nothing we say is bad.
Right. Well, according to my Steam account, I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey for 18 hours in the last 3 days. So that's,
It's kind of the same thing. I really like it. I go to a church where they're half of them are atheists, but I really like to pretend. It makes me feel very good. Very self-important. I go to church.
I'm still kind of rattled by the idea that there's Bill de Blasio attack ads that are around here. What the fuck? What is he polling at around here? How much
God,
support do you think he really
That
has in the
was
state
no,
of
that was
Iowa?
another thing. That was the other thing about it. I forgot to tell you. It said you're polling at 0%. It was a picture
Okay, yeah.
of Bill de Blasio, and on one side it was New Yorkers are asking where you are. Here's the homelessness rate, and the other one was we're polling at 0%. It's amazing, and it was facing my church.
Yeah, that's definitely by design. There's definite purpose behind that placement.
I definitely remember that there's been a lot of New York City mayors who have actually won the nomination, including Rudolph Giuliani, Michael Bloomberg when he ran in 2016 because he was really mad about Bernie Sanders. They all have had extremely successful national political careers. It's really kind
Yeah,
of,
they all
kind of
killed
amazing.
it out there. Yeah.
Yes, and our biggest source of our future, which is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, which is doing really well, and nothing is going wrong there right now while he's campaigning around the country.
Yeah.
They're having no issues regarding shooting black people and then covering it up.
Yeah, he's someone who I've had my eye on for a while. He kind of disturbs me, and not for any reason that you might think. More because he seems to be the embodiment of a complete empty suit. He did all the right things, he kissed all the right asses, but I'm not sure why he's here, honestly. Like, he just basically seems to exist, basically to reflect people's desires for...
Hey, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Very Obama-esque, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to just be a reflection of what we want to believe is our best selves. While
He's whatever you want him to be.
yeah, he's basically whatever
That's
you
what
want
Obama
to be.
did very well. Is like I don't ever remember Obama having like really like extremely hard line policy ideas when he was campaigning. You know?
Hey, he
No,
was
he
for
had
single
nothing.
payer
I
healthcare.
loved him.
He was for single payer healthcare
He said that?
before in
No
2000.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, before he like that was the thing with like him and Hillary.
Yep.
Yep.
Early on, that was a big thing.
Fuck, you're right.
Yep.
He said he would close Gitmo also.
Yeah.
Oh,
did.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
But then he got in office and he realized like,
Wait, this shit rules.
yeah,
Yeah, so skipping ahead to current day, how do we think it's going to stack up? I mean, we're like 6 months away from the Iowa caucus.
well, we can definitely predict that with complete accuracy.
Yeah, we're going to be right. Whatever we say here will be at least very close to...
The polls don't actually move. They're basically, they're stuck in the
They're
ground.
static.
Yeah.
And every
So-
one of the polls is accurate.
I'm kind of pessimistic about it. Like, I remember back in 2016, we were like maybe a week or two away from election night, and Evan and a few other people and I were in this exact Discord server, and I was like, guys, Trump's going to pull it off. Like, this is absolutely going to happen. Like, this is not a slam dunk whatsoever. Like, I just from like seeing the energy that these people had, that this is going to be a thing. And we're talking about a guy that was like getting laughed off the stage, like a year and a half prior, and was like, sort of considered a novelty within the Republican Party.
I mean, even in his debates with Hillary, people were like, "Oh, that was a fucking joke. Like,
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
nothing."
Exactly.
Well,
It's like, oh,
she
he's done
helped
now.
him
Like,
become she wanted to run against him, yes, because she thought it
yeah,
would be
absolutely.
so easy. So it's
Yeah, the
partially
Pied
her
Piper thing.
responsibility. He's even there.
But that's because they're so focused on the superficiality of obviously Trump is superficially a fucking terrible person, and it's like obvious, but he at least spoke about people's economic concerns, and even though he blamed it all on
Right, yeah.
immigrants or whatever, it's just being better than Trump on moral grounds is really not a great way to win.
No, not at
votes.
all.
Well, I mean, yeah, and did they even really make that case effectively?
No, I
Even
mean,
the moral
the deplorable
case?
speech was totally just mocked, widely mocked.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she was right, but
yeah, it was just a total flop.
but yeah, it was hard to take seriously from someone like her.
Okay, I would like to steer us back to prediction territory, if that's okay.
Yes.
Chuck, you said you had a very pessimistic outlook.
Yeah.
Would you like
Yeah,
to provide us with your prediction for the Iowa caucus?
Okay, so it springboards perfectly off of what we were just talking about. I think you know where I'm going with this. I mentioned earlier my pessimism about, the days leading up to Election Day back in 2016, where I was like, dude, Trump is going to fucking do this. Like, he has provided something to this... he's provided something to people that it's got them excited. Like, people that don't normally really vote, that normally wouldn't necessarily consider themselves Republicans, we're going to go out and they're going to vote for this guy. My biggest fear, well, I mean, I don't really call it, I guess it's not really a fear, it's like what I, in my, deepest, darkest fucking heart of hearts think is going to happen is, it's going to be Trump versus Biden in 2020, and the same thing's going to happen that happened in 2016, where, we're just going to fall flat on our fucking faces because we can't learn from our mistakes, and by we, I mean the Democratic Party, not necessarily meaning we as in the collective sort of left, meaning the people that are going to have to fucking vote for one of these people because we're not fucking gonna vote for Trump, obviously.
Yeah, and we live in Iowa, so we basically have to vote for whoever the Democrat is.
Yeah, exactly. We really do. I mean, I know that all of us here, I know that Justin and Natalie both in the past have put in a fucking ton of legwork around here. I remember Justin going to great lengths to go to bat for Bernie Sanders back in 2016. And I believe you actually traveled as well to go and do work for his campaign. Am I correct in remembering that?
Yeah,
out of state?
I canvassed in 4 states, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no lack of boots on the ground. I plan on getting much more involved this time around, because I mean, it's really now or never.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to sit and fixate on the idea of the country being in this sort of backslide. Every candidate is just a variation of like right-wing policies, whether it's further right or not quite as far right. But I really truly do believe this is one of our last chances to sort of turn the ship around, and Bernie's absolutely the man to do it. So I know that we're going to be putting in work to do that. Anyone listening to this that's in the area, I'm sure we can get some resources out there as far as like what we might be doing. If you want to come join us, whether it's knocking on doors or it's going to the farmers market at Cedar Rapids or just whatever it is, But I mean, realistically, just because there's so much money and time and energy being put into manufacturing Joe Biden as the candidate, and there's just enough people that are around here in particular that get that cozy sort of Obama feeling from him. Like they when they see Joe Biden, they think, yeah, he was Obama's guy. I fucking loved Obama. He was great, Like a lot of these sort of older, more centrist, like less progressive sort of Democrats that are around
He's
here.
the low information voter, like standby.
Exactly.
So, let's be back to normal voter.
Yes,
Normalcy
exactly.
Voter.
That is exactly where I was going. No, you hit the nail on the head. That is what I'm afraid that's going to happen. But if I have anything to say about it, that's not going to be the case. I mean, I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm going to go to bat when I need to go to bat. But I really fear that it's going to be 2016 all over again, except it's going to be Biden instead of Hillary. So
Which is
that's sort of my
somehow.
prediction.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
easy
How
words.
is that
This is what
possible?
I was very mad in 2016 because of all the people who were like, well, they could have just run Joe Biden and then everything would have been fine. And I honestly think that Joe Biden probably would have won in 2016. But if you look at his legislative record, it's literally worse than Hillary's. He's more conservative than Hillary.
It is.
It's absolutely the case.
Significantly.
Yeah. Like Hillary Clinton would have been a better president than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
We referenced earlier, an episode of Chapo where Michael Moore was on stage with them, and I feel like he brought up a very good point, and that is that the Democrats waste far too much time attempting to appeal to this mythical, centrist base that maybe votes Republican sometimes, maybe votes Democrat other times, when in fact they should be expanding to the largest voting bloc.
Which
yes,
is people
the
who
largest
don't
voting
vote.
bloc. Exactly. Expand the party, fucking reach out to these people, give people something that's tangible. Give them something that is actually going to fucking help them. Reach out to these people, make this hard promise, it's not fucking difficult. Let's stop wasting time with these people.
If we could get every fast food worker to vote, then this country would change fucking quick.
Absolutely.
Okay, and if someone works at McDonald's, what the fuck reason would you have to go out and vote for Joe Biden?
Well, yeah, or really anyone. I mean,
really,
Yeah,
why
I mean,
would
why
you?
bother?
Without
Yeah.
all the options.
other
they're
than the
offering
one
you.
candidate who actually shows up at fast food restaurants and protests for a living wage, there's one candidate who does that.
Bernie marched with McDonald's workers in Cedar Rapids
Yes.
this summer. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Pete Buttigieg.
He has a very, he's a huge presence in Des Moines.
I'm terrified of
He
Pete
has a huge
Buttigieg.
presence.
Yes, he has a very big millennial and older. There's a lot of older people who admire him too because they like to think that they're down with the kids.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, he's a gay man. He's also a veteran.
Yeah,
That's fucking
he
perfect.
checks a lot of boxes, and if you ask him, he will tell
Yeah.
you that he checks all the boxes, and that's why he's a great candidate. He's honestly, he seems like the kind of like egomaniacal, like career politician, the absolute kind of people that we do not want to be running this country. The people who will sell out basically anyone in order to increase their own standing. It's disgusting.
Do you think he beat Trump?
No, I think Pete Buttigieg. I think Elizabeth Warren will probably beat Trump if she goes up against
Right.
her. I mean, I know
Probably.
I'm not saying it's likely. I mean, I'm not saying it's like a lock or whatever, but
Yeah, it would be slim.
it would be slim. Bernie, I think, has the best chance. But Pete Buttigieg,
He's a
there is
slam
basically no scenario that I can imagine him winning, because the whole goody two shoes, like I said earlier, the moral arguments about, Trump is obviously, like, the people who like Trump realize that he's an immoral person, but it doesn't matter to them because they think that he's going to help them somehow materially. And Pete Buttigieg is the exact antithesis. Like, Trump will bat him around like a fucking cat toy.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm imagining it now and I like it.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the fucking content in the posts.
Are you gonna thrill up your spine like Joe Biden or whatever?
I was talking earlier today about how one of the things that drives me the most crazy is this idea that if Trump does something, no matter what it is inherently bad. So if we draw any correlate, if you can say that Bernie is in any way like Trump, then that's an argument that he's bad. When it's like, no, Trump fucking won though. And there are things he did, tactics that made him win, like going straight to the people.
Right.
Like what Trump did with Twitter and what he can do with like workarounds like Joe Rogan or whatever. They're saying opposite things, so it's extremely stupid to compare them. And the things that he does do that are similar, like point out things about the media. I mean, I don't think Trump's like media criticism was legitimate,
Right.
But like
dog shit.
But like the similarities are good. The
Right.
things that
Well,
are
it's
similar
because
between them are good.
They can't see context. Like, it's very, very easy to manipulate context and I would like to think that it's just a blind spot, but I know better, that these people literally know what they're doing and that they are basically just manipulating.
Yep. I will say, unlike Trump, though, Bernie has never been a Democrat. So.
Damn. I never thought about that. That's a good one.
That is a good point.
That's a really good point, actually.
I'm gonna put myself out there a little bit, and I'm gonna make a couple of concrete predictions about the Iowa caucus in 2020. I'm gonna say that by the time we reach the caucus, there will be fewer than 10 Democratic candidates in the race. And I'm going to say that Bernie will win. He will not get a majority. He'll get a plurality. I'll say it'll be somewhere between 30 and 40% of the state.
Honestly, I would say like, we'll go, I'd say 27%, but I think that's still enough to win.
I think I'm being optimistic, but I'm going to stick to that.
I feel like, well, I don't know. We'll see.
I think the Iowa caucuses are a slam
That's
dunk.
another thing is we're talking about delegates earlier, but the way the Iowa's caucus results go, it's by delegate count. And the way it works is it's not like one person, one vote at all. It's
why not?
because as
isn't that what everything in the country is supposed to be based on?
Step aunt has very controversial opinions about how democracy is bad, basically because she believes that she is better than other people and does not believe in the concept of egalitarianism at all. Which, I mean, that's a kind of conservative thing to do,
Well, conservatives don't like democracy at all anyway.
They don't. They like to think that they're the, like, kings of their own domain or whatever. They don't want to have to deal with other people or other people's opinions or any sort of, like, collective good. They just want to believe in the power of the individual over everything else.
Which, like, gives them an inherent advantage in the system. And until people can figure out, like, no, they just don't actually care about democracy, because everyone's like, how dare you, sir? Like, it's just like, no, they don't care. And unless you start operating as though you understand that they don't fucking care about democracy and you have to fight back with voting rights, you're going to continue to just get clobbered, because they just keep trying to appeal to their values. It's like,
yeah.
ugh.
So do you want to do ranked like candidate. Like I guess, like I said earlier, Pete Buttigieg scares me. I feel like he's gonna finish like top 4.
Let's all do our top 4 then. Who we think will come out on top?
Oh God. Okay. I don't want to go first. You guys go first.
I'll go first. I'm gonna say Bernie 1. Honestly, after that, it's a crapshoot. But I'm gonna say Warren 2, Harris 3, and Buttigieg 4. The reason I'm not including Biden in the top 4 is because he will be dead by then.
Yeah.
He'll have been tied into the
His brain
Epstein
will be
thing.
completely smooth.
Will there be some shocking revelation about Joe Biden doing some horrific, horrible sex acts
We can only hope.
with Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, that'll all be gone completely in a week,
Yeah.
so no worries there.
Yes, they will wipe our minds clean like Men in Black.
Right, yeah, Men in Black, absolutely. Epstein will have been completely fucking eliminated from any kind of media circulation by the time...
Anyway, I'm sorry. I said we weren't getting into that, and I got into it. But
You have to understand that this podcast is very, very ep-pilled, and we're having a hard time
absolutely.
not discussing it.
Yeah, it's a shadow over the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a shadow.
I'll say Bernie 1, Liz 2, Buttigieg 3, Biden or Harris 4. I'll say Biden. I don't think Harris is. I don't think the way she crumbled in that last debate. I don't know. I don't feel like she
that didn't do her any
any
favors.
momentum that she gained in the first debate. She lost in the second one, but I don't see her connecting.
That makes me... another thing I've been thinking about as far as the debates go is... the debates largely serve as nothing more than
Yeah,
political theater.
Pretty much useless, but they do shape
Yes.
narratives, which are
They do.
more
That's
important than
the
the actual
point.
content of the debate, which is because of the horrible
That's
media.
the point, yeah.
And to like get digs and dunks and like you wrecks
Absolutely,
or
yeah.
like
Dude, Democrats love epic clapbacks more than anything
clapbacks.
else. Like,
Yes.
clapbacks. I mean, they love Yas Queening. They
I
fucking
guess
love
just
all that
the
shit.
thing with Harris is that she just does not. She's another inauthentic politician who
Yeah.
will say the right things when it's convenient, but not very convincingly, and will, like obviously have a terrible record of, if you actually look into it, like her time as a prosecutor, in California.
Yeah,
is not good at all. There's a lot of shit on her too.
I don't think that you were my Facebook friend when I posted the 10-page paper I wrote about all the reasons that I hate her so fucking much.
Oh yeah, there's a
I
lot
have
of
an extra special torch against her. Fucking hate her.
yeah. She sucks.
She sucks so bad.
I'll go now. So the reason I'm putting, I know you guys are both so far pretty low on Biden. I'm going to put him at number 1, just because if you look back to 2012, Obama was the more popular candidate by the popular vote in Iowa and by the Electoral College. He was somewhere around 52%. And I think there's still enough people in Iowa that have these fond memories of, like, let's go back to the good old days, like, where the worst scandal was a tan suit. Like, that's the fucking...
Oh, I hate that line.
Exactly. I think that's still something that's in a lot of the older voters' minds.
The thing
that
about
are
Iowa
Democrat.
too is that we're pretty comfortable here.
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
have there's a lot of there's social problems everywhere, but we don't have some of the scale of problems that like larger
Yeah,
populated
I
areas
will
have.
amend that a little bit to say that the people who are going to vote in this election
Yes,
are very
exactly.
comfortable.
Yes, exactly.
That's true
exactly.
in general, but like we don't have this sort of big urban
Yeah, yeah,
centers
yeah.
where people
Nope.
will
Yeah, and like our shadowy underclass is kind of the immigrants that we have here who cannot vote and cannot leave their homes because so it's not that we don't have people here who are vulnerable and destroyed by the system. It's just that they literally cannot vote. Okay, so you said Bernie, Biden, Chuck. What?
So, yeah, like...
No, he has
Or Biden
Biden.
won.
Yeah,
Oh.
I've got...
Traitor.
I don't...
Okay.
Ooh.
No, hey, listen, I'm just,
Well, it's
this
a
is not
prediction, not a
This isn't what I
wish,
want,
you know.
okay? Like, for full disclosure.
This isn't the secret. This is not the secret. He's giving his real opinion.
All right.
I am giving
Not
it's a real
vision
opinion.
boarding.
All right, you can go.
I think that it's going to be very close between the two of them in Iowa. I know that there are a lot of people, especially in eastern Iowa, where most of the population of the state live, that are very on board with Bernie. They fucking love the guy. They do anything for him. Evan made a very good point a few weeks ago when we were talking about this exact same topic about how enduring the bases are for these various candidates. I think that, and I'm just echoing what this is the point that he made, this isn't mine, that Bernie by far has the most enduring, durable floor of any candidate in this state. So I think that the people are going to come out big time in support of him, and I think it's going to be very close between him and Biden, but I have this fucking horrible feeling that he's just going to get edged out just slightly.
Exactly like in 2016.
Exactly like in 2016. So I am going to reluctantly say Biden at 1 and Bernie at a close second. Ideally, it'd be the other way around. I think Warren's done enough to warrant a third, like a solid third here. I think that so far it seems like we're all sort of on the same page about her being right around that area. I don't know, like you could put Buttigieg at 4. You could maybe put, I don't know, dude, Gabbard at 4, but I think it's to me it's just like to me it's the bottleneck at the top that's really going to define it. So I'm going to go Biden, Bernie, Warren, and 4, just pick a body in a suit, like roll the dice.
That's all they are, baby.
Draw a card. Yeah, draw a card. Just whatever you want to fill in for number 4.
Go
ahead.
fish.
All right, Natalie.
Okay. Yeah, so it's me. I put, and I don't think I'm vision boarding it. I genuinely do think that Bernie is wildly popular. I think in my experience working within the Democratic Party apparatus here, the people who are leftist are leftist. And that's something that I think people don't understand is the contingency of people here within the Democratic Party, the Progressive Caucus, they are hardcore. And I really think that he can pull it out. I think he's really popular. I just have such a hard time with Biden. I have such a hard time because he's just so bad at campaigning. I just have a hard time thinking that he isn't just gonna fucking say a racial slur or I don't know, his brain is getting smoother and smoother. And I think maybe we do need to take into account his very, very obvious senility
right.
as a factor.
Sundowning.
Yeah, as a factor that is could throw an enormous wrench into this, because otherwise I would put myself pretty thoroughly on Chuck's side as far as the assessment of Biden, but I really just think he is not holding it together.
So,
and it's
real quick, I'm sorry, before you go on, would you change your mind if Obama came out and endorsed Biden?
That's not going to happen, dude.
Ugh.
Apparently Obama tried to
but-
talk him out of running.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah. Oh, fuck. I don't know. I think Buttigieg is going to be formidable here.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Harris out of the top, even though, I have, some of the most frothing K-Hive friends on my social media, so it makes me difficult for me to think of her as a threat, and it's just, astoundingly obnoxious.
Well, I think she definitely has a lot of the Hillary crossover.
Yes.
Of any candidate,
Yeah.
she's probably the number one Hillary crossover.
Yes, and she...
Biden too, but whatever. Go on, sorry.
I'm going to say, I think we're all kind of ending up in somewhere. I think Warren is a solid third. I think in particular in the Des Moines area, working in various nonprofits here, there's a pretty significant kind of master's degree class, people, I don't know, who are very into Warren. I think that she'll do very well here. I'm going to put Buttigieg at 4th just because I just see too many of his little weirdos everywhere.
Little Buttigieg weirdos.
Little Buttigieg weirdo. My uncle is a reasonable person who is now on the Yang gang, and I cannot fucking get over
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just
How can I forget Yang? Yang's number 4. Yang's my number 4.
Yang's
Fuck
your
it.
number 4.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Sounds good.
He's coming.
I'm gonna put Bernie, Biden, Warren, Buttigieg, and I hate it.
Good shit all around.
Very encouraging.
Yeah. So do we want to wrap this up somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's this is a good starting point for us, and
Yeah, if we've
Agreed.
we've got some stuff kicking around for the future. There's some media criticism we'd like to do with some local writers of note. We'll dig into them sometime later. For now, if we happen to get anything out before this Wednesday, August 21st, I'm going to be canvassing for Bernie in Coralville. So if you want to come with me, that'd be fun. But you can also look up any events that the Bernie campaign has going on by going to map.berniesanders.com, putting in your zip code.
Donate.
There's an app you can put on your phone to canvas that's super simple and super slick if you're like a social anxiety type who's really intimidated by the idea of going door to door. You can get an app. It's like the Burn app, and you can canvas just like the people around you. Like even if, because I have that doing quite a lot of legwork for the Democratic Party, I have that as a big concern about like this is intimidating, or I have like some anxiety about this. And it's very, very accessible. So just download the app and like talk to your friends and people around you and put their information on there. And it's like super simple, and like canvassing can be just the people that you have near you who might like find the message to be valuable. Like it doesn't have to be as scary as it seems, but it is important to understand that we have the people and they have and that's what matters is the numbers. Like that's the only thing that beats the money, although he's got some good fuck you money at this point too. But
yeah, right. Number one, volunteer if you can. I'll be canvassing next week, I believe.
Hell yeah, baby.
Number two, give money if you can, because that's what makes the world go round, and especially makes politics go around, unfortunately, as it may be. And number three, post if you must.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most effective form of activism.
Don't trick yourself. Don't trick yourself into thinking that you're doing a whole lot of anything other than entertaining yourself. But entertaining yourself is also good too. So, and also making your family members hate you for being a weirdo socialist freak is also, it reaps benefits in the long run because you don't have to talk to the people you don't want to talk to anymore. Anyway.
And number four, listen to this podcast and tell everyone you know to listen to it. This is Rock Hard Caucus. Thanks for listening to the first episode.
Goodbye.
Vote for Daddy Bernie, bitch.
Yeah, and Cardi B is cool.
I-O-Way, that's how they sing it in the tall corn song. Other people call it Iowa, and they're both just a little bit wrong.